Yeah, I mean, again, the Soulbound reward set, I think it's bigger or as big as Rift Watchers. So, there's no denying that it's going to have a very significant impact on the meta. It's just we don't feel it now because most people still have either bronze or silver level cards, but that will start to change over time. I'm sure this next end of season will push some people's collections, or at least some cards in people's collections, maybe into gold, right? And you know, we'll see. But even at the lower level, some of those cards are really, really powerful. Like, for example, if you don't mind, maybe we can pivot over to this. But what I find interesting, let's go to, you know what? Let's go here. I would actually be curious, and maybe we can do this as like the next kind of segment here to focus on, since we're talking about cards. But like, what are some cards that you're playing with, even though that they are not leveled up or maxed out to where you normally play at? And I would say the two for me that probably get the most usage, just I'll give you guys a chance to think about it. The two for me that get the most usage are Swamp Splitter, because I love the armor repair on this, even at level 1. And then this guy, I love just throwing him into the mix to die. So far, even at the lower levels, level 1 through level 4, or even level 3, these are the cards that I'm using the most. But I'm curious to know which ones you guys have been looking at.
So I'll tell you, I use Archmage to determine cards that I want to focus on, right? Because it'll pick them based on a lot of analytics. Believe it or not, it picks, not leveled up, Riverboat Captain quite a bit.
Really? Okay. Yes. I got so many of them in recent chests, and I was just like, oh, I like the Affliction, but I wonder if that's why it's using it.
Don't know, right? But it used it, and I was shocked because it's not leveled up, right? So, and I won the match. So it was just interesting to see that it's starting to use some of those cards. So look at that, Mr. Infidels here.
Oh yeah, all right. We'll jump in the chat in a second. Tails, you got any cards here that you are opting towards using even at the lower levels?
Yeah, I mean, the Martyr cards for sure. And if you look at the Martyr cards, there's really only 3 that you can probably use at lower levels. It's the Firecaller, Fungus Flinger, and the Mark's Rat, because the epic and legendaries for water and life only get those later on in the game. So Martyr for sure. And I've also been using the weapons training card, legendary for water as well, with Bakjira. And that's been interesting to see because it's got opportunity as well.
He's so good.
Yeah,
I don't have one yet. I need it. That's a good card.
And maybe we can talk about Chuni's question, because I have actually an answer to this. Chuni had asked, how do you feel about leveling up the Soulbound Martyr cards? Should we keep them low so the ability is used sooner in a battle? And it's a very interesting question, and I don't think it's been asked enough necessarily. And when you do the analysis, I think the answer is pretty clear. And the answer is, if you're working consulting, is probably a well-known answer. And the answer is it depends. If you look at the Fungus Flinger, for example, on its stats, this is one that I have leveled up. And the reason why it's pretty clear. The Fungus Flinger gets 4 health at level 3, and that's where it caps out. And it has 2 health at level 1 and 2. But the first time you pull a gold foil Fungus Flinger, it automatically gets to level 3, which is going to be 4 health. So you're going to get a level 3 Fungus Flinger that the game's going to default use anyways. So in my opinion, you want to level up your regular foil Fungus Flinger to get advantage of the blind, as an example, because the health is going to be the same no matter what. So you might as well get the extra abilities and eventually the extra damage and speed and affliction and stuff. So for the Fungus Flinger, I definitely recommend leveling that up, because you will eventually get the health whether you like it or not. Now the fire one is similar as well. The Firecaller, if you look at that, when it gets a gold foil, its health is at 4 across all levels. So there's really no disadvantage to leveling up the Firecaller. You might as well go for the extra damage and the extra abilities. The Mark's Rat is a different story, though. The Mark's Rat is one where, if you look at the gold version, it actually, when you get the gold version, since it's a rare, it actually will only go to level 2, which will be 3 health. Yeah, 3 health. And the abilities that the Mark's Rat gets, the Snare and the Shatter, and eventually the 2 damage, you could make a case to say just keep it at level 2 But really, would you want to give up 1 health to get that 1 extra damage and the 2 extra abilities? In the long run, if you play Diamond and Champion, the answer is probably just go ahead and level it up, because at Diamond and Champion, the difference between 4 health and 3 health is not really anything. So
Yeah. Well, to your point about this, like I leveled mine up just because I was in the habit of leveling up cards, but I do kind of miss having a level 1 version, mainly because the place that I use this card the most probably would be in poison rule sets, right? Because I know it's gonna die on a scheduled time, right? And I know that I can place it between 2 cards that it could obviously buff up. So the two health here would make it so that it dies after the first run. You know that's going to happen. Whereas, you go one more round here and anything can happen, but you're also delaying the buff up on, your other 2 cards by another round. So yeah, I can see that argument being here, but I would say as you go up, like, I don't know, these abilities don't necessarily make me excited, but if you are playing at the higher levels, I think the other thing to consider too is if you are going to run one of these cards, I think they still ding you for low level cards.
mhm.
So
Yeah, that's the reason why I level them up, is to go as quickly as possible, get them up so I don't take any of the rewards hit.
yeah. Oh, one other card, and I don't have a regular. It's odd that I don't have a regular foil, but I do have a gold foil. Is this dude for death? Who gives you the protect at low levels? Because I don't think, at least I don't have any other monsters that offer protect for death, so that has come in handy for me.
Yeah, that's a good one.